Yes. So the most important the thing I'm taking away from today is that Biden approves of recreational nukes.
I want
Oh,
my nuke.
Great.
It's a human right, damn it.
thank God we included that.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to talk about this just from a basic point of view, a nuclear a nuclear weapon in its most basic form is actually less sophisticated than a cannon. There are no
Really?
well, there's no moving parts
Yeah.
in the most basic form of a nuclear weapon. There are no moving parts.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you just
Well,
strap a
things
bunch
get
of
moving
explosives around
after
a
it
chunk of
works.
uranium or something.
Well, you don't even need to do that. If you take two correctly sized halves of a sphere and push them together, you'll be vaporized before you've finished pushing them together.
This bomb is armed. This bomb is mobile, and the identity of the trigger man is a mystery.
I mean, all the components of a nuclear bomb are actually there to stop it going off, not to make it go off.
You live in Scotland, don't you? You got to be careful before the Scottish Nationalist Party comes and knocks on your door. They don't
Well,
have
National
as nice
Socialist
suits, you know.
for understanding basic science.
Yes.
Well, the Scottish National Party is not a fan of basic science.
That is true.
So
Or
I
intelligence.
so I got to the podcast itself a little late. So I'm not sure if the Lotus Eaters made this point, but Ben Shapiro did on like kind of the double think there, where Biden's like, "Oh man, it's gonna be no good to have guns to resist the government because the government has nukes and F-15s." So he's simultaneously saying that resisting the government is futile because of military power. Meanwhile, at the same time, he's making constant political hay out of all those white supremacists at the Capitol almost overthrow the government. So, I mean, like,
Which is it?
yeah, exactly. Is it?
They're both true at the same time.
Yeah, like, so
Big
can you
Brother
not
loves
put any
you.
resistance against the government with an armed population, or is a crowd of like mostly gunless people wielding clubs just able to almost overthrow the government?
Yeah.
It's
Also,
double
remind
think.
me. Also, it's worth remembering the government don't actually build F-15s. F-15s are built by civilians in civilian companies in civilian buildings, not owned by the military. Just a minor point, you know.
Yeah, but you know they'll
Fascinating
make
idea.
sure they're all brainwashed before anything goes down.
Because they only sell F-15s to the US, right? It's not like any other country has them. It's not like they're not possible to be purchased.
No, they'll have to make sure whoever
They're
buys
ideologically sure that the only people who get them are Americans.
it.
Nope,
or
not
or at
true.
least people who buy into CRT.
People who buy into CRT does not deserve a nuke.
No,
What
no,
they
no. But
deserve
you
to
have
be
to
on the receiving end.
understand. You have to understand. Critical race theory is a legal theory. It's only taught in law schools.
Well,
Funny
really?
how that's a filthy fucking
that's
lie.
noted. Well, no, it technically is. Technically is taught in law schools.
Well, it is, but it's not
But
just
that's
taught
not a
there.
good thing.
No, it's
Well,
really
and the
not.
weirdest thing to me about those kinds of deflections is that, and I see this all the time. I used to be on this Discord server with a group of friends, and most of them had like gone like pretty far to the left. And one of them kept ripping into Jordan Peterson, like, "Oh man, oh, what is Jordan Peterson saying? Oh, these Marxist professors and stuff. He doesn't understand that real Marxism is just like a dialectical, like analysis tool method, and that there are these professors who aren't like pushing social change, but just find it interesting to look at economic systems through that lens." I'm like, bro, okay, well, the most annoying thing is they always pull these semantic games, but at the end of the day, it's like they're still describing something real. If you think they've mislabeled it, just say that they've mislabeled it and then engage with their criticism of the actual thing they're pointing out. But instead, what they do is like, "Oh, critical race theory is just taught in law school." Okay, then how do you defend whatever this shit is if you're not going to label it critical race theory? Stick to the argument. They're pointing out actual shit that is like influencing society, and you're deflecting from it by saying, "Oh, that's not real critical race theory." It's like, it doesn't matter what you call it; it still sucks, and that's the point.
Can socialists ever
real-
stick to the point when they're losing?
Real critical race theory has never been tried.
Yeah.
No. Abortions have, though. Up until the point of birth.
It's just funny seeing how hard they backpedal on that point. Like when they're like, "Oh, you haven't read it." It's like, actually, here are some quotes from the foundational scholars. Nope. Nope. Not everyone agrees with that foundational scholar. Okay, here's another one. Okay, well, they're foundational, not in the modern day. Okay, here's all the modern day people. And it's just cringe, dude.
I mean, you can just make them start doing Vosh screams, and then they'll just run off, or just call you racist.
Glass Israel.
Well, you don't need to make much effort for them to do that. That's like breeding for them.
Breathing or breeding?
They're not breeding, they're breathing. I wish they did neither, actually.
Yeah,
I'm just glad they don't do one, but I
just
wish they didn't do the other.
You
What?
slightly beat me to. You just slightly beat me to it there.
The most convincing pro-choice argument I've heard is that it removes people who would kill their own children from the gene pool.
You do have a point there.
Yes, it's certainly an interesting point. Sadly, a lot of
It's a
people
better
who
one, I
get
heard.
abortions, just some of the people who do it are just disgusting, because they refuse to take responsibility for their own actions beforehand. They end up in a situation where they have to get an abortion. Like, for God's sake, it's called a condom, you losers.
Well, you know what? The abortion discussion is nested in a much larger discussion, and we're addressing it at the wrong level. Like, what has to happen for it to get to that point?
Say it's white supremacy, I guess.
Well, isn't that literally why Planned Parenthood was started?
Yes.
I thought.
In fact, you are right.
Yeah, Planned Parenthood was invented as a genocidal tool against the black population.
Yeah, but we don't talk
Female
about that, apparently.
eugenicist.
Yes.
That really hated black people and said,
But it's
well, what's the
okay.
best
It's
way?
okay to be a eugenicist when you're a female because, women.
No. It's okay to be a eugenicist when you're a leftist all the time.
Yeah, I mean, just look at Movie Bob, or is it Diabito he goes under nowadays?
To be fair, it's very difficult to get that many women drunk and push them down the stairs, so it's much easier to make an organization.
Well, actually, the same friend who pointed out that pro-choice thing also pointed out that the left represses kind of the eugenic instinct, so it just comes out in more kind of fucked ways, like with the abortion arguments, or with cancel culture, really, and how it's they do get kind of eugenicist and semi-genocidal, at least in their impulse towards cleansing the population on the internet.
Maybe that's why the left is really so upset about George Floyd dying. He was in favor of trying to cause pregnant women to have miscarriages.
Technically, you're right.
Not that far off.
Well, I mean, what do you mean disavow? The fact that he put a gun to a pregnant woman's belly.
Just at safety purposes, I'm just disavowing.
Okay.
just in case.
Unfortunately, oil is in the country where he needs to be careful.
Oh, right. The Socialist Republic of Scotland?
I am in my own home, so that's a problem.
The National Socialist Republic of Scotland, in fact.
Socialist is socialist regardless where. Either it's ethnic, statal, or whatever else. Intersectional, which is everything.
In fact, if you're curious about that, you should go to the Lotus Eaters and watch the Neither Left Nor Right by Zeev Sternhall, the book club that Carl and Colin made.
I'm gonna listen to that at work tomorrow, actually.
Why are we shilling for those guys exactly?
Yes,
don't
why
know.
why should we shilling for the guys who keep stealing our content, damn it?
The entirety of last week. What the fuck? Seriously,
Oh,
I mean, it
man.
was funny, but then I started like, what the fuck, Callum? Are you stalking us?
I think he's watching the.
Callum, if
Listen,
you're
I mean, I'm
watching,
honored.
we need more shout-outs. We love you, but shout-outs, please.
Give us some credit, for fuck's sake.
Well,
It's a
on
mutually
the
beneficial relationship, you see.
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
On the Biden gun point, though, something I will say for Beto O'Rourke is that despite betraying every other principle of Texas, he's still an honest man. So he at least says, "Hell yeah, we're gonna take your guns." Whereas Biden's like, "Oh, it's conspiracy theory. We're not coming after gun owners. What are you talking about?" And then, like, he pulls crap like this or something that went a little more under the radar. His administration sent an amicus curiae brief to the Supreme Court arguing in favor of cops being able to go into people's houses and take their guns without a warrant, which if they think they're a threat, which like
Yeah,
violates
red flag
two of the
laws.
amendments.
That's red flag laws. It's a horrible thing.
Yeah.
It's
We've
utterly
already had
horrendous.
cases of people, just like a guy has an argument with his wife. She goes off to stay with her mom, and then she like reports it to the police or something, and without even her telling them to do so, the police goes in, raids his house, takes his guns away, and puts him in jail.
Wait, what now?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
I had to catch a phone.
So there's already been a case of red flag laws in use in the U.S. A guy had an argument with his wife. His wife went to her mother's house and informed the authorities about the fight. She didn't tell them to do anything about it. She was just, hey, I just want to make sure this is fine, blah blah blah. Don't do anything about it. But I just got a little panicked. And the police, regardless of that, goes in the guy's house, raids him, takes all his guns away, and then throws him in jail.
Fuck.
The police can decide without a warrant that you don't deserve guns, and they can take them away.
Great.
I
Kind
think
of
way,
free,
that,
huh?
well, I think the Supreme Court actually ruled against that very recently.
They might have.
Yeah, if I
That's
remember
not
gonna
stop
rightly, it
them.
was actually a unanimous ruling, wasn't it? No,
Really?
well,
Nice.
No, that sounds possible. They're very good on 2A.
well, I mean, that one, like, there's no argument that it's unconstitutional. So even the lefties on the Supreme Court have to be like, even if we disagree personally, the Constitution's so fucking clear that we can't even pretend to make an argument against this.
Yeah, though at least the left-wing justices still have that kind of ethos.
Yes, at least for the most part, they do seem to at least be honest to themselves, if not honest to
Well,
the anything else.
Let's see how long that lasts, huh?
Well, I think that's largely the case because they got like appointed to the court a while ago. So not only are they older with like kind of older ideals despite their leftism, but like the Supreme Court is like kind of deliberately more isolated from politics than the other two branches because they aren't elected and appointments are for life. A large part of the point is that they're kept away from their positions being dependent on
Kissing ass.
like on external pressures like campaigning or needing to make promises or getting donations or trying to do shit to appease their voter base to stay in office or
Or
like
just being like, I don't want anyone to take my position after I'm dead. I swear that was me.
yeah. Well, again, like she's another example of this. I'll give her credit here. She repeatedly said that packing the court was like a fucked up idea.
No, she
won't stop
She
them doing it, though,
understood
will it?
what her job
Of course
position
not.
was, and even though she had different beliefs than what the Constitution said, she still acted according to the Constitution.
Yeah, that's the fucking job.
Yeah.
Almost get impressed.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you did the absolute bare minimum. You did what you were legally required to do.
Yeah.
Which is
The Supreme Court
honestly
has its
more than you
own,
can
like,
expect at this point.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like, doing the bare minimum is actually impressive now. I mean, if you look at the conservatives in the UK that don't actually
Oh,
conserve
boy.
anything,
No. Well, it's virtually no one in the UK can own a gun now. It's
holy shit, the left-wing
very, very limited.
justices, the left-wing justices in the US are better at conserving things than the Conservative Party in the UK.
At least you fuckers in the UK have airsoft, for fuck's sake.
Oh boy, we're gonna get onto that later.
Well, maybe just a bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
not really. I mean, you have to. The guns have to be like colored pink and stuff like that. You can't just.
You can have gay airsoft, but not regular airsoft.
No,
because
it's so that people
straight-
can. No, you have to color code them by their strength.
It has
String
to be half of it has to be colored
Yeah.
bright color, and I know that because I bought a airsoft revolver recently, and it's very nice, and I love it.
Oh right. Well, but now here's an interesting thing. Unless you want to leave it for later, I'll tell. I used to play in an airsoft team in France.
Oh,
How many
when
times did they surrender?
That actually, so the first time we went to play a league event, we brought flags. We had because we were a British team in a French league, and so we brought British flags and we had them on our kit, and we gave all the French guys. So we had these glass tubes with a flag inside, and when we at the start of the match, we handed over before everyone went to their ends. We handed over these glass tubes to the French guys that from the outside appeared to have a French flag inside. And when they pulled the flags out, actually that was sort of glued in, and the flag they pulled out was
it
white.
was white.
Of course.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just curious though, how many jihadis showed up thinking it was like terrorism training?
Well, I tell you.
Is this the flag we're gonna wave under, or is it gonna? Are we gonna paint on the thing with with the Islamic words and the black in the circle, huh?
That kind of sounded Indian.
Yeah,
Huh?
it did.
Yeah.
Anyway,
please come again.
I'm a
more-
white guy. It is beneath my station to actually try. Yeah.
the moral of this, the moral of the story is this: if you play in the open league, as in one that is not ruled by what type of equipment you can have, and how many balls you're allowed to use and things like that. If you play in an open league, the people who win are the 5 oil guys who spent a shit ton on their kit.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That makes sense.
Because cash is, as we all know, the best superpower.
Yep.
It is. Just ask Batman.
Yeah, and also you can make a really impressive pistol, airsoft pistol, if you just take an M14 body and just cut all the other bits of it off. So you just completely cut the barrel off completely and cut the stock off completely. And just keep the working mechanical body of it and attach a full-size magazine to it. The motor will quite happily ping balls out of the stubby end of it. No problem fucking at all. Yeah, full rate fire.
Nice.
Be careful. You'll get like thrown in jail like the dude who had those like books.
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. God forbid you read books. So, apparently Biden's administration plans for a comprehensive strategy to prevent and respond to gun crime and ensure public safety. Right, so you're sending the National Guard door to door in Chicago.
Yeah, like it's literally just like enforce the fucking law. And I mean that's the case. That holy shit, that's not even just the case with like fucking like actually, punishing crime in these big cities. But that's like also the case for like the gun control bills that like already exist. And like the majority of these shootings that happen where the left is like, we need to pass gun control that's going to prevent something like this from happening. Well, most of what they end up proposing after that has nothing to do with what actually happened, but in the majority of those cases, like the law already existed. It was just like poorly enforced, where it's like, oh, how is this guy able to get a gun? This is a problem in our legal system. We don't have the law for this. It's like, yeah, we do have the law for that. The problem is, like, some dipshit in the bureaucracy didn't pass the information through.
Yeah, well,
Like-
there's actually a really good example of that in good old Australia. Let me see if I can find the news article. So, back in
Good
the...
old Australia.
Yep. So, it's a famous double murder-suicide. So, let me see if I can find it. I think it's the only murder-suicide by a licensed gun owner in decades. So let me see if I can find it.
That happens, and we gotta take everyone's guns away. We're having a gun buyback.
Yep.
You see, a buyback implies it is voluntary.
Ah, yes. The mandatory voluntary buybacks.
Well, I mean, in the UK, I mean, everybody just. I mean, to be honest, after Dunblane happened, everybody just handed over their guns. It was. You've never seen people give them up so quickly. Give up anything so quickly in your whole life. That was
Well, I mean,
one single shoot, one single incident. I mean, the guy did kill a lot of children, but I mean, he was using just pistols. It wasn't even, and people here couldn't give up their guns fast enough.
I mean, people still in the rural areas have countless guns.
Shotguns, but not pistols.
Oh yeah.
Bang bang.
About the only people that have pistols now are people with PPWs.
What's that?
Legally owned personal protective weapons. So the sort of people that get those are, well, let's say, suitably trained government officials.
Yeah, diplomats.
Let's say engineering type people who are at significant risk of because of their abilities and knowledge of sort of kidnap or stuff like that.
If only we knew someone like that.
Gee, I wonder who.
I don't know.
Well, I'll get before I get into this.
Because you certainly wouldn't be allowed to tell people if you.
No, I'm pretty
No.
sure they're not smeared in oil on a regular basis either. Playing with chef dolls and spoons.
No.
So just before I jump into the thoroughly appalling story, so fun fact about the stupid gun laws in Australia. So you can be to be an armed guard, you need to do an armed guard course, then you need to apply for a weapons license to possess the gun, so you can be licensed to carry a loaded firearm in public, but you can't have one at home.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, like you can be licensed to carry a gun in public, but you cannot legally purchase and keep a firearm in your home.
So
That
you'll have to
requires
store
another license.
What in your
In
car?
my head now, you just have the song "I Come from the Land Down Under."
Careful.
That's-
They like to litigate
that's
about
neat.
that.
Really?
Oh, there was a big legal fuss about that tune, apparently.
Well, they can go fuck themselves. Pardon. They can go bleep themselves because I am on the ocean in Norway. Ha ha ha! Suck my off. What?
Right, so...
Alright, so what you're telling me is it gets worse.
Yes.
No, God, no.
So, what Second was saying about
So what you
dipshits not following the law and actually enforcing it, and then they complain about it, and we need more guns. So, this man ended up shooting his 2 children and then himself.
What?
Yep.
That is horrible.
With a gun that he legally purchased, with the license that he legally had, that never should have been given to him because he was prohibited from having the license.
Wow.
Oh.
Man.
Oh.
Then obviously they needed to take everyone's guns away.
Gun
That would make
control.
But also,
works so
has
well.
anyone considered that his children were pricks?
Well, yeah, I mean that's kind of what I was wondering. Like, did he
The children
find out?
were attacking him with a knife.
No, I've read
Like,
I've read the douchebag, the coroner report. Apparently, the douchebag had like half a dozen plus kids with half a dozen plus women, and he'd abused all the women, and he was just a thoroughly outstanding piece of shit.
All
You
right.
know,
Wonderful.
half a
Well,
dozen
I'm
sounds like
just
a lot of
curious.
kids.
Like, did he find out that the mother of these kids specifically was an Eldian or something?
Dude, it's Madagascar, not Australia.
Yeah. So
You know,
this piece of
half a
crap
dozen sounds like a
had
lot of
multiple domestic violence orders against him. And funnily enough, you're not legally allowed to have guns or a weapons license if you've got domestic violence orders against you. So what the cops do, they gave him one anyway.
Ran down under.
Yep, because
Makes
I mean-
weapons licenses are administered by the police, who apparently can't do a fucking background check to save the 2 goddamn kids' lives.
Oh,
Well, you
God.
know, it's very hard for the police to get access of legal records.
I mean,
Yes.
it's literally what, like I said in the Moon video, where it's like, yes, they promise to solve the issue if you elect them, and then they fail to do so, and then they say it is because you didn't give them enough power.
basically.
Give more power, please.
So
Kids.
it gets dumber. In order to have what's called a concealable weapon, which is anything under 70 centimeters, you must be a member of a gun club for 6 months, and then have the gun club endorse your application for the license.
So what
So
did you
that
say
didn't-
the concealed weapon had to be under 70 centimeters?
Yes, if it's under 70 centimeters, it counts as a concealable weapon. Yes, I know that includes most short-barreled rifles.
Under 70 centimeters. I mean,
Well, you see, Australians come from
Wow.
prisoners, and their human pocket is very large because of that.
Yes, but they
Tell me,
can't.
does Aborigines get a gun?
no.
No, but they can get licensed to do traditional hunting with a rifle. Just think about that for a moment.
If you have it in pieces and all the pieces are less than 70 centimeters, can you carry anything?
Well, I think that's the one thing that's kind of like the US. Like, what part of it is actually the gun? Like, is the barrel the gun?
I can think about breakable. I can think about breakable anti-material rifles that would be quite fun.
Yeah.
Reminds me about that guy who sends in these videos to the
But
loading
no,
theaters, was like, behold, a gun. Haha, no, a hammer, but it's a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Ice.
Normally to get a license, you have to be endorsed by a pistol club after being a member for at least 6 months and doing X many competition shoots. But this guy didn't have to do that. In fact, at least 2 different gun clubs reported him to the police and said, do not give this man a license under any circumstances. He's a fucking nut job. So what the cops do? They gave him a license anyway.
So what you're telling me is it gets worse.
Yes.
The conspiratorial part of me has to wonder how much this is psyops or something. Like,
Just to put this into sort of like reference, an MP5SD, that's the one with the integrated silencer, is only about 660, about 66 centimeters in length. So
Yeah.
you could use that as a concealed carry. That'd be quite fun.
Yeah. So the New South Wales police made mistakes in how they recorded 2 complaints made by the mother of the children. So that meant they were not picked up when he did his application. So, and of course, he applied for a commissioner's exemption from all the other stuff because the gun clubs refused to have anything to do with him because the goddamn civilians could identify that he was a danger. But the cops were like, no, it's fine.
Oh, fucking really, just shoot me instead. Just end it. This is so fucking... No words. Sorry.
Yeah, but
Police
yeah.
do bad job. Newsflash.
Newsflash.
Yeah.
know.
In fact, and that's the thing, it's like, oh, we can't trust civilians to make decisions. Sorry, it was the civilians who told the cops to keep this fucker away from guns.
Well, it's their fault. They didn't say it loud enough.
Yeah, so all the laws were there to keep this piece of shit from getting a firearms license, but the cops fucked up, gave him one, and then he murdered his kids.
Oh, the government sucks. Let's give them more power.
Applause! Yay! Woo! Yay! Oh wait, what? Bang!
Yeah, I'll be right back in like 10 minutes. I need to
Right,
get some
so-
caffeine.
I'm going to tell you some other dumb shit about Australian firearms laws because it's my favourite topic of whining. So, paintball guns. Must be licensed, must be stored in a safe.
What?
Must be licensed, but must be stored in a safe. So you're
Yes,
allowed to have a
because
gun.
Paintball
you're not allowed
paintball gun.
Have a gun.
Yeah, a paintball gun, it counts as a firearm, which means you
Well,
must.
yeah, that's
be-
fair, to be honest.
Which means you must be licensed to possess it, and you must store it in a safe. And, like, sure, that could make some sense, but I can't do that despite the fact that I am legally allowed to possess a rifle up to and including a 50 BMG. I can't have a paintball gun because I don't have that particular license because that makes fucking sense.
License.
Of course,
I
sense is
mean-
evil.
I do agree. I have to say, I would agree that paintball guns should be licensed.
Yes, I could probably see an argument to that, but
And it's very simple. I can very easily kill you with a paintball gun.
Oh yeah.
Very
Oh, yeah.
easily.
But
I
can
used
the
to
regular
borrow the
person
paintball
do
gun
it?
from a friend, and I actually managed to kill a fucking bird with it. It's funny.
Well, I mean, I'm not suggesting you should do this, but you know, if you're playing paintball against some people that you were, sort of disliked, if you had, for instance, taken the
in
paintballs and
Minecraft,
just simply put them in your freezer,
Oh,
yes.
you'll find that they're quite effective.
It sounds like you speak from experience.
No,
Perhaps?
no.
no, of course not.
Maybe.
Saying,
But
just saying that,
theoretically-
My
but you could
point
also
is,
replace them with a similarly sized stainless steel ball, for instance. I mean,
Yes.
like, you could do a lot of damage with them if you wanted to. I think they should.
Oh.
oh, cat.
I mean, you can also boost it up a bit, which means you can also get a really fucking heavy kick of it.
Yeah, there's a limit. There's a limit to the damage you can do with an airsoft gun. Realistically, because of the density, the density of the round that it's possible to fire. I mean, at worst, you can fire a 6mm stainless steel ball out of an airsoft gun. You can fire a lot of them, but you're going to struggle to do any real damage. I mean, you might knock someone's teeth out or something, but you can definitely kill somebody with a paintball gun.
Yeah,
I mean, you could accidentally kill somebody with a paintball, a normal paintball from a paintball gun if you did it at reasonably close range and you got them.
I mean, hit him in the right spot and he goes down.
But my point is more so the fact that the licensing is so weird. Like, because of the way they do it, I can have a concealable weapon or I can have a rifle up to and including a 50 BMG, but it is illegal for me to possess a paintball gun or a crossbow.
Right.
But what? Okay, here's another one. Just going right back to the Aborigines, because since they are so one with nature, they're allowed to use bows, right?
I don't think Aboriginals ever used bows. I don't think they ever invented that technology.
They did.
No, they definitely use bows.
Yeah.
What about the
how
what
they-
about the images I've seen with the Aborigines
I've seen them using
and the
bows.
drawings and shit, or artistic interpretations, I guess.
I swear they were more.
I think they made both, just that they were
based.
very good. I mean, we're not talking about reflexes and recurves and things, but
Yeah,
I've
so
seen,
just a
I've definitely
quick
seen
Google
images of it.
search. The favoured weapon of the Aborigines was the spear and spear thrower. Never adopted
Yeah.
the bow and arrow. They may have
Spears are better,
well,
though.
what do you mean by spear thrower?
like
Stick you hold
the
that allows you to just
atlatl,
throw it
I
harder?
think.
It's a weird stick that allows you to throw it harder.
Yeah.
Sounds weird, I know.
Yeah.
But it's really cool to
Yeah,
look
no,
at.
I know what
It's
you're saying,
basically a stick that gives you that adds an extra foot or so to your arm.
Oh right, yeah.
I mean, I've seen people use it properly, and holy shit, they can make spears fly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the Aborigines never used the bow.
Hmm.
Funnily enough, though, bows are legal and don't require any form of licensing, despite the fact that you
That's
can
just
totally
insane.
just walk out and buy a broadhead.
Ooh.
No licensing, no questions, nothing, and you're done.
Well, then time to use bows and arrows to fend off the hypothetical fucking home invaders
Yep.
and
But
dingoes.
so you don't require any form of licensing for a bow, but because it has a trigger, a crossbow is a firearm and is licensed appropriately. Well, I don't. It might
Right,
not
so that's
technically be a
how
firearm,
the
but you.
Australians define it, a firearm.
Okay, so now I have to ask again. It has a trigger, so it's a firearm. Does that mean the STW is not allowed because they get triggered a lot?
No, it also
God, I wish.
it also needs to be able to propel a projectile.
I mean, they
So-
can throw shit,
Yeah,
and
but
words
not
hurt,
very
so they can
far.
actually spit words.
But the laws in it.
I'm trying to get
so
them banned
dumb.
in Australia. Don't stop me on this.
I wish we could just ban them on account of being repugnant. Just ban them on
or
account of
just
being
light
communists.
Or just light a fire under them, sing Kumbaya, see them dance, and then we dance. I have no idea where I'm going with
I mean,
this.
the
I'm
thing
kinda
is,
tired.
actually, I mean, like, do you know how hard it is to actually hit somebody with a fucking handgun? I mean,
It is
It's not. It's
not easy
really
unless
super
they're
hard.
right in your face, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I think movies and things have suggested to people that.
Yeah, they are really overstating it. It's not.
Sure,
Yeah.
but remember,
The
this is
people who can, like,
Australia, where a
nail-
handgun is a short-barreled rifle.
No, yeah, no. But it's
Of
just,
course.
I sort of think, folk think they could just pick up a fucking, if they
Oh, yeah, it takes
handed a
skill
gun, they'd
to
be able
hit-
to shoot you. Yeah.
It takes skill to hit anything with a bloody handgun, and then that's
Wildly inaccurate.
well, the handgun's fine. It's just that most people suck.
Well, I mean, just the adrenaline in the situation
Hmm.
generally causes most people to be fucking wildly inaccurate.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely awful, most people are.
And then, of course, the fact that 90% of people now turn them on their side because they've watched too many fucking shit films.
Of course.
Yeah.
Usually followed by some kind of slur or another.
Yeah.
That does help, actually. So.
I played in Minecraft. No, it was I played Call of Duty. I know how to handle a gun.
What, by hopping,
Pretty much.
crouching, and jumping alternatively?
My
Skip
face
around
from
like a
Roblox in
bundle
real
of
life.
sticks.
No offense,
Uh,
bundle of.
I can say that, right? I can't say this is a power word F, but I can say bundle of sticks, right?
I always find it really amusing that in what is essentially war simulator, people get really upset if you camp, which is pretty much how war is done.
Yeah.
Right?
Just running off on your own would be, unwise.
Stupid. Yes.
I mean,
to
they
say the
probably
least.
work under the principle of honor. So it's like, oh, that is not honorable. Standing with a fucking minigun.
This guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's our next topic?
What do the Lighter Eaters have for us? Hi, I hope you enjoyed this segment from the Sultans of Shadilay podcast.
If you like this segment, please click like, comment, and subscribe. Also, check out the full podcast in the description below.